it going? Carl Bryant coming at you with my boy Pat Bell.
Hey, Carl.
Hey,
everyone.
Yo.
Busting out new stuff every day, making the software better.
That's what we're doing, and that's what we're here to talk about. Okay, guys, so as per usual, as you know, the one-on-one of this, we're here to answer some questions. So if you guys got a question.
Well, is William here? Sorry, I just wondered if William's here. William, are you here with us?
No, I don't see him.
Oh, okay, really? Okay. I was going to say, if he's here, we can open it up for technical questions first.
Okay. Well, he's not here yet. Maybe he'll be coming. But anyway, so all good. So if you guys have a question, we're here to answer. Of course, we do need some questions. Again, this is just to be clear here. This is not designed to be training. This is designed to be Q&A. So if you got some questions, there's no bad questions, only good questions, guys. I've been known to ask a stupid question once in a while, and tell you what, sometimes you come up with a good answer. Right, Pat?
Sometimes you come up with dumb answers.
That, and we've all heard me do that. So there you go.
Oh, all of us, not just you.
All right, cool. So let's say hi to a few folks. Got a little bit of a skeleton crew here, not the normal number. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to open up a couple lines. My boy Eric. Let's go to Eric. We're coming for you, man. Oh, you're self-muted, Eric. Would like to say hello. You got to unmute yourself. Come on, Eric. Don't be shy, man. Don't be shy. Looks like he's going to be. Oh, there he is. Yo, Eric.
Hey, how's it going?
Fabulous. How's it going with you?
Good. I'm just new to the software, so I'm just here to see. I may be in the wrong training. I'm not sure.
No wrong trainings here, Eric. You're all good, man. Yeah, this is just Q&A. You can imagine, with the software, there's a lot of questions. So versus trying to do it one-to-one, we do it in a group setting. So that's what you'll be here for, bud.
Great.
Cool bean?
Yep.
How's it all going so far? All going good?
Yep. I'm taking in the fire hose, so it's going well.
That's the way it is, man. Open up wide. Okay, cool. I'm going to put you back on mute, Eric. Good job.
So just Eric, as a note there, you'll see on my screen, noresults-nofee.com/software. That's where you go to do the training, and I don't think you've requested it yet. So that'll go to noresults-nofee.com/PAS-request. PAS standing for Profit Acceleration Software. And the access to the form is restricted, so type in all caps PAS. And that will request the software, and we get that request, we'll set you up, and you get all these links, like links to the software training page. So that's where you go first and walk through this training here, and start using it. Before you know it, you'll be a whiz with it. This, Eric, is like totally this levels the playing field for you. And if you're new to coaching and you're looking at some people who are just geniuses out there as business coaches, man, this just levels the playing field. You can stand up with the software. You can stand up and put your skills against anyone out there in the world, even some of the superstars. You will do better with the software than some superstars will. So it's kind of like the magic pill for coaching, we think.
Yeah, I would second that. Absolutely. No question. It is complex, but not complicated is what we're looking for here. Okay, cool. So if you got a question, guys, you got to chime in for us. Looks like Edwin's got a question. We're coming for you. Yo, Edwin, what's happening, man?
Hi, everybody. Everybody okay?
Everybody's fabulous. How's Edwin doing?
I'm doing good. I just want to let you know your audio is a little bit low.
Our audio.
Oh yeah. Is that okay? Is it better now? Is it all good?
It's a little bit better now.
A little better now? Okay. Cool bananas, man. Thank you for that. And tell us about the software, man. Any questions for us? Any comments? Any thoughts?
No, really. Everything looked very good. You guys do very awesome job. Just getting more familiar with.
Nice.
Beauty. Did we open you last week, Edwin?
Yes, we did.
We did, yeah, okay. And I told you had a baseball name, right? Because I'm sitting there looking at it going, that sounds like a baseball player, Edwin Gonzalez.
So yeah, just say so.
Same thing this week, man. Go get yourself a baseball glove, man. You might be playing for the Yankees next year, Edwin.
Well, we'll say. Let's see. I'm too old for that now.
All right, cool. All right, man, I'm going to put you back on mute. Appreciate you being here, man. Okay, we need some questions here, folks. Here we go.
Juan,
we're coming for you. You're self-muted, Juan.
Hello, gentlemen. How's everybody doing today?
Hey,
Good.
fabulous. What's going on?
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So I was just typing in the question, so so thanks for catching it. Question on the system. So tomorrow I have a presentation with some potential joint venture partners. One's a wealth management firm, and the other one is wealth financial services like retirement, annuities. So they're trying to form a group where their main target is going to be business owners, obviously. And then I spoke to her last week, kind of give her just a little taste of, I do a business breakthrough assessment. I can find up to $100,000 in hidden revenue without adding $1 marketing or advertising. And so tomorrow's my presentation. So I want to kind of get a little guidance on what would be a good way to introduce the software. I've done it a couple times, and I'm still kind of struggling on how to present the Profit Accelerator software to make it really impactful. I have some companies where I, kind of go through the, kind of like an example, right? But whatever tips you guys can give me so I can like really blow their socks off tomorrow, how I can go in, give them value when they present to business owners, and then we can work as a team.
Okay, Pat, maybe I'll go first, bud.
Yeah.
Here's what I want you to be thinking of, Juan. I mean, each situation is somewhat unique, but I can tell you this. What you want to go into is I want you to be thinking problem, solution. You want your spidey senses out there looking for problems, okay? So I'll give you an example, and you might need to, as you speak to these guys and get an understanding as to where the holes are in their business. But like if you meet an accountant, here's what happens. Basically, people come to see an accountant once a year. It's 3 months after the year is over. That creates, quote unquote, what you understand to be tax season. Okay, so the accountant is so busy for 3 months of the year, they can hardly get out of the office to come home and have dinner with the family, right? It absolutely ages an accountant, where it takes years off of their lives because they're literally that stressed out because everybody's in a rush. Everybody wants to pay absolute minimal tax. Everybody wants you to get back to them yesterday, et cetera. So it's a gong show for the accountant, and it drives them nuts. And by the way, it's all at once. So that's the problem. If you put an accountant, and if an accountant was here and I opened them up, that would be, if that's not, challenge number one, that's top 3 in their firm, 100%. So the solution, that's the problem. Then how do you solve that? Is that, you basically, when you just say, Mr. Accountant, send me 3 clients, and here's what's going to happen. The guys who I work with, don't send me your best, don't send me your worst, just send me 3 average clients that, spend about, $2,000 a year with you. Send those guys to me, and I will personally guarantee that they come to see you 4 times throughout the year. Okay, and potentially 10 to 12 times a year, depending upon the size of the business and the dynamic. But at the end of the day, I will make sure that when tax season hits next year, they're not going to be part of that log jam, and they're not going to be sending you the shoebox, 3 months after the year is over and say, I need my taxes done ASAP. Please hurry, answer my phone calls, answer my emails, etc., and only pays you $2,000 for the privilege. Okay, because when you go to see your accountant 4 to 10 times throughout the year, you're paying them significantly more than you are when you just go to see them once. So I give you that as a framework. And then, by the way, when somebody's selling advertising, similar kind of dynamic. People, they sell advertising. They run it for like a month, 2 months, maybe 3 months. The guy says, you know what, I'm not really getting results. I'm going to turn it off. I'll call you again when I'm ready, and they never do. And then the advertising guys have to go find a new piece of fish, to kind of stick their fork into. So that's the challenge. So I say to the guy selling advertising, whatever they're spending, send me some of your advertisers, whatever they're spending, I will endeavor over the next 12 months for them to spend twice as much with you. And I will tell you that you'll never find a bigger fan of advertising than me, because I believe advertising to profit is a superpower. So you send me your clients, and I will make sure that not only do they continue to advertise with you, but I will, endeavor to get them to double the budget. Whatever they're spending currently will double that amount. You see how all of a sudden the advertising guy and the accountant say, oh, yeah, sign, look, here's 3 clients, show me. and then you do that for, you do that for 3 clients with the accountant. All of a sudden, he wants to send you 30, if not all 300 of his clients, if you can handle them, right? So you see how I went problem and then solution? So the question is, what is the financial, the guys that you're going to sit with tomorrow, you just ask them, so tell me, what are the 3 biggest challenges that you currently face in your business? They're going to give you an answer. They probably won't list off 3. They'll probably list off 1 or 2. Go a little bit deeper, right? To kind of scratch the itch a little bit more, and then basically present the software as a solution to that. That's effectively what you do. And so you're going to be able to generate them leads. You're going to be able to assist them in retention. It's going to be similar to the advertising and the accountant dynamic, but that's what you're looking to do. Does that help? And do you follow that one?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it does. I think it's just, I was looking at it more like a presentation on my part, like, like I can, find revenue for them. But you're right, though, because it's a joint venture. I have to focus on their problem, even if they're a joint venture.
100%. Yeah, remember that your ideal, exactly. You got to get inside their head. The software is going to impress the hell out of them. And you're doing this face to face or by a screen share?
Screen share.
So make sure that you get, as soon as you get on the call, remember, like, what do they say? A picture is worth 1,000 words. It's totally, absolute in this case. Make sure you get them on a screen share at the very beginning of the call, so that they can see your screen. Now you go into what I just went into, tell me about the 3 biggest challenges you have. Start massaging your wording and your positioning, to solve their problem. But make sure you get your eyes the same way that, Pat, we start these calls and immediately you're staring at the software, right? So doing that, and then you're going through, but make sure you said at the beginning you're a little bit, practice tonight for a couple hours playing with this stuff so that you feel comfortable going back and forth and showing them the profit jumpstart and then showing them the 40 areas. The breakthrough 40 is built around, pretty much the 5 steps: leads, conversions, transactions, pricing, profits. So kind of explaining that to them. And then just do a kick butt screen share and show them all the magic that it provides. And the magic it provides to solve their problem.
Yeah, because I think that's been my challenge, because I've presented to a couple of CPAs and I always get kind of like weird response, but I think I haven't been focusing on, I haven't presented it like how they would present it to their business owners, but I haven't had, just because my mindset's been different, because they are the end user at that point when I'm presenting. You're right. Okay.
Yep. No, I got you. And don't worry, you'll get better. Pat, let me throw it to you. What would you say? Expand upon that. Agree? What would you say?
Oh, I absolutely agree. I just want to say, as you go through the software with the people that you're talking to, keep your numbers small. I would keep them 3 to 5%, and then if you can go through some examples as well, that like even, and we've done some in the trainings before, but let's say digital marketing. You might take them through 3 areas and just show them how you have an impact. You can find a great impact in their profits or revenue over 3 areas. But you might even go into an example, like as you talk about growing a business through digital marketing. So for example, you asked this question here: if we're to put together a comprehensive digital marketing campaign, by what % could we grow? And you just say, look, for example, let's say a business has 1,000 leads coming in a year. And could we get 5% growth with that business? Well, 5% is just 50 leads a year. And that's just 1 lead a week. So do you see how we might be able to get that with, a comprehensive social media campaign, not even to mention advertising? Could we get this business 1 lead a week? So you can see that 5% here is extremely conservative, but I don't want to be known as a person who inflates my numbers. So we want to keep our numbers conservative and practical, and so we don't want to be seen as someone who's just trying to sell and overinflate. And I think for people who are financial planners or accountants, whatever, they love that language because those are conservative people. So don't come across as someone who's flashy or whatever. Come across as someone who's conservative and kind of like, you're kind of like them a lot in many ways. Use conservative numbers and still show how you can find a big impact.
Yeah, I would agree with that totally. Like overtly just say, that I want to be ultra conservative here. It's like, oh wow, like how many, people come in and talk in that language to them, and it's, very rare, clearly. So yeah, I like that.
Well, thank
There
you.
we go. Juan, what do you think, man? Any other questions, or does that help? Any thoughts?
It helps immensely. Thank you, guys. I have one question. Is there anywhere you would suggest for me to start? So when it begins, like, I'll tell them, let me show you the tool that I use. Is there a specific graph or chart that you've had good response for them? They're like, wow, like as soon as they present it, somewhere to start. If it's the summary page, if it's, like the profit impact.
Yeah.
I would start with,
Sorry.
I was going to start with have a company already set up, ready to go. Have the financials ready to go in a company, and you could do something like I've got 100,000 on this. This is far too low. So I would start with something maybe 700,000 as your size, and let's put a 20% net and a 50% gross. So just something like that. So these are pretty common numbers, and they'll get those numbers quite easily. So start with that. Maybe take your valuation numbers and also build those out to make sure that your valuation is done. Let me just move this little thing out of the side. So what you want to have is these charts kind of flat. I guess they're the flat profit because you haven't found an impact yet. Just show them the numbers, maybe from the summary screen. And these are blank then, and just say, look, let me go into 3 areas very briefly. It's not going to take more than 10 minutes. I'll show you what this software can do. And then take them through 3 areas that you like, that you find that you can explain really well, but quickly and elegantly. It might be the software, it might be the digital marketing, for example, the market dominating position, or leads, or whatever, the cut costs, something like that. And show the impact that it makes. And I'm not sure there's some other things you could look through. Could talk about prioritizing. You could take them into implementation. And I'm not sure if you need to go through the others as you close clients, but I'm not even sure you need to get into the priorities or implementation. You could just mention it, like we can prioritize our implementation. We can generate reports for clients. We have agreements that are ready to go. But I think maybe if they want to see those, you could open that up. But I don't know if you need to focus on that. I think this summary screen is the most impressive. Carl, what do you think?
Yep. Actually, I want to. Yep. I just opening up. So here's will you just hit home for a sec? Well, I'm going to show you to everybody listening. I'm just going to show you exactly how I do it. So if you just hit home. So I've got two assessments set up. So I've got one for the Jumpstart, one for the Breakthrough 40, and then I just, you call one, like I think I've called mine Test 1 and Test 2, whatever it is, right? So one company set up, and then I've got 2 assessments sitting there, and then I just click on. So can you click on one, please, Pat? That will take us to the Profit Jumpstart.
Yep.
Okay, so I click that, and I said, let me give you an example. And then I kind of just explain to them the different areas. I just tell them, look, I can find any business owner $100,000 in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. Everybody listening, guys, you've got to be able to spit that out so well. I can find any business owner $100,000 in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. Like that there, believe me, you've got their attention. Okay.
Sorry, I'm just refreshing my screen. It looks like a little slow. Make sure you have good internet where you're going.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so boom. So we're here, and then I would just explain. You see could you just highlight cost cuts to cutting cost to market dominating position? So I just highlight this just like that, and I scroll up. Yeah, just scroll up so they're all become blue. If you know what I mean. I can then go down.
How do you mean?
Yeah, so just like if you just start at the M at market dominating position.
Okay.
And then just go all the way down. You'll see they'll all highlight for you. That like that, boom, just like that. And I say, so as an example, I've got a lot of experience with this. If you were to ask me, so I'm going to go into a business owner and I want to find him $100,000, where would I start? With all my experience and all my, my network of 800 coaches around the world, where would I go? It's like this with 100% certainty. I would not deviate outside of these 12 areas. So here we are, and you'll see my example. So now I would just hover. Okay, so Pat, just hover over the summary there, like I'm just circling that. Market. Yeah, right. Exactly like that. I'm just circling that, and I'm just saying. So as an example, and you'll see that I keep it ultra conservative. So the highest impact that I've got is 10%. Most are in and around 5%. But if you look up here, you're going to see that I've got with this specific client, I've got an expected increase in revenue of $465,000, and a total profit impact of $278,000, which is an increase of 199%. And then just scroll up for me just a little bit, please, Pat. And then I hit implementation, and I go, let me give you an example. So once we found the breakthroughs and we got the $100,000, now it's time to basically take the rubber and meet it up against the road. So what you've got here is what I refer to as the answers at the back of the book. So if you hit market dominating position for me, boom, and here you are, a step-by-step instruction. No stone unturned on exactly how we go about implementing a market dominating position for any one client. And exactly, Pat, that's exactly what I do. I do that, and then I scroll back up, and then I would say we've got that for all those different industries. So that again, so if you've got, if we've, so any business owner, whether a butcher, baker, candlestick maker, we can rip them through that. And then also now click, I go to reports. And I go, then we've got some templated reports as we want to, and this is with a joint venture, not a client, by the way. We've got, I go to, agreements. I don't go here. I go to agreements, agreements. And I said, just as an example, again, depending upon what they're looking for, but we've got a contingency agreement, memorandum of understanding, a non-disclosure for those that are nervous about giving us their numbers. And then we've got a standard agreement, but everything is right here. The software just basically exports everything and they're ready to go. And then I hit strategies. This bit's very important. I hit strategies. And again, when we work with clients, we've got all these, this bit, guys, is very important. So I go to turnkeys, and then I would hit dentist portfolio, because quite frankly, I think it looks the best. And then I scroll down and I say, look, at the end of it, I just keep scrolling down, Pat. And I just say at the end of 12 months, this is effectively the way that, they can expect their marketing is going to look. And again, if I go to work with a dentist, like this is a $70,000 marketing system for a dentist. Just imagine if you had this turnkey marketing system ready to go before we got started. And then boom. So that would be the, boom. And then scroll up for me, please. Yep. And then I would hit ROI. And then boom, and I just say it as an example. So when I'm working, like as an example, I'm working with this client, I'm $1,497 a month. You can see my fees down here, just, a little under $18,000. Just, would you exchange, that like I can't even read that, but $418,000 of, extra revenue in exchange for $17,964? If there's any certainty here whatsoever, I mean, these guys absolutely jump at the chance to work with us. And I know this sounds a little bit, too good to be true and that sort of stuff, but the reality is business owners just don't have the basics in place. They don't have upsells, they don't have downsells, they don't have cross-sells, they don't have proper upfront offers. And then, so I know I'm going a little bit, but this is the way I'm presenting it, Juan, like literally like this, right? And then I would just very quickly go back to, now I would hit home and I would hit the full 40. And then I would hit assessment number 2, Juan, right? Like remember I had 2 there that were tests. And then I go here and I say, here's an example of 40 areas. So once we really want to, again, the rubber meets the road and they're paying some fees, and I want to make sure that they're putting that $100,000, straight into their bank account and legitimately. And again, we work with contingency deals. So we get, where I make a lot of my money is on when, through profit sharing. So this is how we lift up some rocks and make sure that they're profiting wildly from the software in a relationship with me. Here it is. And then I would close the 40. I would show them that, and then I would close the 40 on the left-hand side and say, there you go. And I would say, what do you think? And I would be listening. When I say, what do you think, I'm not listening to their words, but I'm listening to the way they, their tonality, and the excitement in their voice and that sort of stuff, which is all kind of sales 101. But it's, remember, 7% of communication is the words, vocabulary. The other is the other stuff like body language. And when you're on the phone, you don't have the gift of body language, but when you get good on the phone, you can really understand what they're thinking and their buying temperature, and frankly, their temperature, by the words that they're using and the way that they're using them and the speed at which they talk and the enthusiasm, etc. When I say, what do you think? So, Pat, I'm not sure what you think of that, or Juan, I'm not sure what you think of that, but that's how I present the software, man, right there.
Okay. So let me just say something here. Like, I'm just like bowing to excellence here, giving way. And I think anyone who's watching this, listening to this, just go back, get the recording when it comes out, write down the script that Carl just said, and memorize it. I mean, if you do that, you are going to be so far ahead of the game. Just write down what you're going to say. And if you can present this on a screen share and you can read that or find a way to read it, you don't even have to make it up as you go, but you should memorize it and just be so good at what Carl just did. It's just brilliant. So well done.
Awesome.
I'm going to do it myself.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Juan, that's it, man. I know, again, that's off the top, but that's like, and again, all I did, just so that everybody, look at the top, look at Pat's screen right now. I pretty much just went dashboard, implementation, where did we go? We went agreement, strategies, and then back, and I ended on ROI. Okay, that wasn't by accident. Last out, first remembered. I didn't end on ROI by accident. I ended up on ROI because I'm like, well, they're going to be paying me roughly 18 grand a year. But would you exchange 18 grand for, X, whatever the number is? And the guy's going to be like, yeah.
So let me also follow up with something that just you really have to be careful about. And we've had some coaches come back to me and saying, hey, I was trying to explain this and I got some questions I couldn't answer. If you're showing a screen and they look at this and some accountant's going to be going 50,000 plus 46,000 plus 80,000 plus 44, they probably got, and 47, they've got their little calculator out and they go, that doesn't add up to 299. So this software is wrong. And the reason is, no, you do not add up to 299. We've done a training on this before in the Ask the Expert call. And the reason is that everything is a compounding impact. And you have to be able to explain it really well to people like accountants or any business owner for that matter. So for example, if you have $100 and you get a 10% impact, you now have $110. If you find another 10% impact, it's not another $10, it's $11. So now that 10% impact is on 110, not on 100. Yep. So now you're at 121. And that's exactly what we're doing here. You've got a 5% impact on $1 million, and then you've got another 5%, and you got another 10%, and then you've got another 5%. You'll notice here, one more thing, that this 5% says 50,000. And this 5% says 46,000. And the reason is, here's 10% should be 100,000, but it's actually $80,090. The reason is there's often a cost to implement these different modules, and the software has gone in and calculated the cost that's indicative of what might happen when you implement. So we're saying, for example, 10% impact on referral systems is not going to be 100,000, because if you're instituting different referral systems, you might have to pay out something to those who are giving the referrals. And so there's some costs involved in there, and that's kind of what some of the algorithms behind that system work on, so, and calculate. So you just have to be able to explain that as well. Just say these costs are indicative of what we're going to look at. We can't count the full amount towards the increase in revenue. We can only count a partial amount there, in this case the majority amount towards that increase in revenue, and then they compound against each other for that expected increase in revenue.
Yep. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. There we go. All right, good job, dude. A couple more questions here. Let's go to Gary, we're opening you up, bud. Open. If you want to say hello. You're self-muted, Gary. Okay, maybe he's... Oh, there he is. Yo, Gary, what's happening?
Oh, yeah, good. Thanks. No, that was a really good explanation there, Pat. I wondered about that.
Whoa, Gary, can't hear you, bud. Sorry, can you come closer?
Sure. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit. Yep. Go.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, great explanation there, Pat. I appreciate what you've done there, Carl. Really good. I was just wondering if we
Sorry, Gary. No, we're not able to hear you, man. Sorry. Can you? I don't know. Maybe you got to come. Not sure what's going on there, but you sound like you're a long way away. Was he talking to us, Pat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so he's back. Okay, you're back muted, Gary. If you want to chat, man, just let us know, and we'll open you back up. That's one of the things he's asking. Yeah, he's just a PAS script would be good. That would be a good idea. So we will.
That's coming with the 100K training.
Yeah, there we go.
And that's first draft's been done. Adrian's now putting his magic to it. So that is coming.
Okay, Valerie's got an interesting question. I'm going to tell her my thoughts on this one, but let's actually, Valerie, we're coming. Mark will be there in a sec. And Valerie, you're live.
Hi.
How's it going?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Fabulous. Okay, you got a question there for, I want everybody to hear this, and then I'll give you my thoughts, and Pat can give you his.
Yes, so my question was, I've started putting in my dummy company, but then I saw that XYZ daycare and I was like, oh, I would love to have that done for me and loaded into my PAS as my example instead of me building it. But so that was my question. Can that be just loaded in and I can go to that, or is it really necessary for me to build a dummy company on my own?
Yeah.
Valerie, I'd say.
Oh, there we go. Pat, go, bud. You go.
I'd say you should be building multiple dummy companies and running multiple scenarios. And I mean, literally, it takes 15, 20 minutes to do one. You're just putting in numbers here. So I would say practice this 8 or 10 times on multiple scenarios, different types of businesses. Even if they're just a figment of your imagination, go through it several times. And then just delete the ones you don't want and keep the ones you like as a template that you like and that you can refer to.
So thank you, Pat. Do you recommend answering all the questions? Like what benefits do you offer, so that if a client says, well, wants to see, well, how did that company answer the question when you ask them? To actually have answers in there, or just only focus on the numbers?
I think it's not a bad idea. I think it's a lot to put it in the Breakthrough 40. I think that would be too much. But if you go into, I just put up XYZ daycare here. It's only 12 areas, and I'm not sure if I've done a whole lot here. Yeah, you can do that. Just put in something basic like this.
Okay.
Yeah, not a bad idea at all.
Okay.
Yeah, Valerie, I was just going to say, that's your training, right? I get it. You'd like to have Pat's magic there, but honestly, I would encourage you to not just do an XYZ daycare, but go through and, create 5 of them.
Okay.
And if you find that you're getting confused now when you're looking in, just go and delete them afterwards. No big deal. But that's really your training. So that's what I do. And I think it's it's a valuable exercise for you to go in and say, well, what are the benefits of XYZ? And really, move to the other side of the table and picture yourself as a daycare owner. And, what would they say? What do you think that they would say? Right? So no, I would definitely do that. Just go and create your own, and no rocket science. Once you've done it a few times, you're going to be like, this is so simple. Like I said, it's it's complex, but it's not complicated. Right?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Cool. Great question. Yeah, beautiful. All right, Ski. Who do we got here? Mark, we're coming for you. Mark. Oh, you're self-muted, Mark. You can unmute yourself. There you go. Hey, how you doing?
Am I good to go?
Yes.
You are good to go. What's happening?
All right. Excellent stuff. Every time I jump on these, I learn little nuggets and tidbits that just make this so much more fun. And I'm probably having more fun than is legal. So thank you for that.
There we go. Damn. All right. Yep.
I want to put on our strategy hats here and value your input. I'm working with a client tomorrow, and their hot buttons are, I'm going to take them through the program. Hot buttons are sales. At one point, we're down 80% in the COVID period versus last year. They were trying to sell the business last year, and so valuation numbers are way down. So one of my thoughts was I could either do 2019 numbers and percentages will be higher and valuation will be higher, and or I can do just year to date 2020, or just do one and then come back with the other, or is that any thoughts, ideas, strategies, pros and cons?
Yeah, what do you think, Pat?
I'll do, you could set them up with two in a sense if you're just doing a quick start. One could be the 2019 numbers, which are better. And then you can say, look, here's a summary of what we have here to 2019. But in reality, you're going to be saying, yeah, but in the last 12 months, I've only done this. So I'd work through what they've currently done. But if you're future pacing them and saying, look, this is where we're going to be going. You want to get back to there. I'm going to help you get there.
Right.
That's what they're eventually looking for anyway. So let's get you at least back to the 2019 numbers. And that's that'll be the focus of our time starting today.
Yeah. And I would, yeah, exactly. And Mark, another big thing, like they've taken an 80% hit. What the conversation in their head is that if this happens again, and let's face it, if it's happened here, it's going to happen in the future. Let's create a dynamic so that they're set up so they don't take an 80% hit. Like they should be taking a hit. That's kind of obvious, but an 80% hit is too big. There's a flaw there that they could rectify next time around. Follow me?
Yep.
Yeah. So that'll be
so another question.
Go. Yep.
Another question is, I was going to do the quick start with them, but is there any reason why I wouldn't start with the 40 breakthrough 40 just to showcase this? These are the areas we could jump into, but today we're going to talk about 3 or 4 of them, and the goal is to find you an extra $100,000 and get you back to eventually your 2019 numbers. Or should I just keep it clean and just start with the breakthrough? I mean, quick start.
I'd be starting clean, absolutely. I would take them to the breakthrough 40 and show them and say, look, we're not ready for that. Let's just do this. Let me find you the dough. Let's create a roadmap. Let's get this thing started. Because you haven't, have you closed the deal yet?
No.
Yeah. So the profit jumpstart's designed to close the deal. So use it in that manner. And now once they're paying you and whatnot, this is where you pop open the breakthrough 40 and really start lifting up some rocks.
But I could tease them with the 40, saying this is what we have potentially. But today we're going to keep it simple and just.
Like if we impress you today, this is what's coming. But let's get started here, right?
Got it.
Pat, do you agree with that?
Absolutely, perfect.
And then I have it set up where the first one I'm going to do gratis as kind of a get him going. But if we do 2 reports, I told him I'm going to charge him. So I'll let him make that choice after he sees, if he wants 2019 as one report and 2020 year to date as another report, then we'll jump down that path.
There you go. That makes sense to me. Any other questions? I like it. Good job.
No, but today one of the greatest things I saw was that answers in the back of the book thing, and flick the thing and there's the answers. I didn't know that was there. That's awesome. Yay.
Well, there you go, Mark. High five. That's what we're here about.
All right. High five. Get out of here. Have a great day.
Okay, great job. Thanks, man. I'm going to put you back on mute. And anything else going on here? Okay, so Valerie asking a great question, but hang on a second. Hang on. John, we're coming for you. And Valerie will come back to you. John Kozark, trying to open you up, bud.
Can you hear me?
Hey, sure can.
All right, cool. So
again, not sure if this should be the right forum for this, because it's probably more of a technical legal question, but it's more about how this can be presented by, somebody like myself, a coach that's got an independent consulting company, kind of creating a coaching package, but I really want to be able to say powered by Profit Acceleration, and I've got some really cool things to say about it. Am I going to run into any type of copyright or trademark infringements by doing something like that?
Great question. No, you're not. You just got to make sure if you're putting anytime Profit Acceleration's like powered by Profit Acceleration software, you obviously just can't, you can't word it in such a way that it's mine, I created it, all that sort of stuff. It's,
Right.
We are basically partnered up. So no problem there. Just make sure the trademark is after Profit Acceleration software each time.
Okay.
So that's the answer. That's the answer to that. Yep. No, you're
and no issues about referencing being part of a worldwide network of coaches and consulting, just to kind of.
I'd be starting with that. Because that's part of the power that you've got, right? It's like a call like this. Somebody asks a question. We've got network effects working in our favor. So that, like I said, not only would I be worried, like I'd be almost leading with that. That's part of the value that you're bringing to the table.
Okay. Yeah, that was really probably the biggest thing, because it came up earlier in some emails, and I just want to get clarification on that.
That's good.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Patrick.
Good question.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, John. Oh, sorry. Anything else, bud?
No, that's it. Like I said, it's getting ready to put basically a video out that's going to kind of highlight some of this and incorporating it with what I'm going to be proposing is call it the ultimate consulting or the ultimate competitive advantage. So it's coming out soon.
There you go. All right. High five, man. We look forward to it. Great questions. I'm going to put you back on mute and hang on. Jane is right here. So Jane, we're coming for you. You're going to unmute yourself. Hey, Jane.
Hi. So I have a question. The very first thing you did the overview very quickly of the daycare. Is that you do that kind of a overview for a group that you're showing them the software, and then if you're going to do a prospect, you go through the Jumpstart. There's those 12 on their own client or company.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, correct.
And,
so the way that I was doing it, Jane, just so everybody's totally clear, I was doing that presentation as though I was kind of, tickling somebody who's going to be like a joint venture partner. So Juan is looking to, bring on a, financial planner or wealth something or other, right? Like financial planner group. So I was demonstrating how I would present it to them to make them feel like, holy cow, this would be an amazing value add for my clients. And really, very importantly, you guys have heard me say this before, 2 words, curiosity. Everything I did with Juan, which was for the joint venture partner, was around curiosity. I didn't go in depth on anything. I was kind of, overlaying everything and talking about, again, $100,000 in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. Here's all the answers at the back of the book. And you saw Pat, like he hit A, he hit B, he hit C, he closed them up, and then we got out of there, right? Yeah. Guess what they're thinking? What the hell is there? I got to see this, right? That's what we want them to be doing. So, and then when I get together with them, we're going certainty. So now you're going to pay me, again, hypothetically, $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year. I've got to make you 100% certain that if you pay me $24,000, at least $48,000 is going to hit your bank account over the next 12 months. Once I establish that certainty, it's candy from a baby. Just, where do we put the credit card number because they're ready to go. It's important that you see that as a framework. But you are right. The way I presented that was for a joint venture partner. Now, if you were a business owner, I'm going through the 12 areas, and we're actually doing the Profit Jumpstart and asking the questions and finding the breakthroughs.
Okay. And so I know I've listened to Terry's interview. You interviewed Terry. She said she charges $97, I think. So do you think she spends about an hour doing those 12? Is that about the time frame on that?
Yeah, I would, like we say 45 minutes. I would personally book, remember, All that matters is the last 15 minutes. That's what's critical. So if you lose time, you're going to lose the 15 minutes, and that's where you close. So I personally would be booking 90 minutes. And the way that I would get you to go to 90 minutes is that I know you're going to have some questions, and I want to make sure that we can get through, I can answer all of them for you. So let's make sure we book off 90 minutes on your calendar, and I'll book off 90 for me. So if you can only get an hour out of them, then you do it in an hour, but that just means that you might be a little more rushed than ideal, and I'd be looking for 90 minutes. You get it done in an hour, to be clear, no problems, and lots have, but I just booked 90 minutes to make sure that you got time for the extra 15, the last 15 minutes, which is a close, which is the absolute most important.
Yeah, and also note that you're not going to go through all 12 areas in that hour. You're only going to go through 3 or 4 areas.
Okay.
So, yeah, and as a coach, you've got to be listening as you're talking to them and you're building rapport. You want to be listening and thinking, which of these 12 areas am I going to zero in on? And hopefully you've done a little research ahead of the meeting that you go, oh, here's a salon or whatever. Maybe for them, it might be digital marketing or upselling, cross-selling, of course, things like that, bundling products and services. So you could go in ahead of time and think, man, this might be the best place to start for this particular client, and you zero in on those 3 or 4 that you think will give you the fastest results. So, but you're not going to get through all 12 in an hour or 45 minutes, or if you only have a 45-minute meeting, you're not going to get through it in 30 minutes because you've got to have that time at the end to close the deal.
Okay, another question. The closing script, is there one, or each of us coaches make up our own closing script?
It's already in the training. The closing script is at the end of the, finding them 10 grand, and the original training that you go through. Adrian provides you word for word exactly what to say.
Okay.
You got to adjust it a little bit, and we are creating training specifically for the software that's almost there. It's almost done. It'll be coming soon, but the close is the same. I just found you 100 grand. Look, do you want to work with me? Do you want some help on this? Right?
Okay. And so the reason, I'm sorry, another question.
Okay, go.
You increased everything to 40 topics. So those 40 topics are not to do in the presentation, but to use over the course of the whole coaching year or years. Is that true?
Okay, so
that's true. Yeah, Pat, you go, bud. You go.
Well, there's different ways to look at the 40 different topics, and different coaches will do it in different ways. The way I prefer, and it might not be the way you like to do it, but I'm kind of a high D guy. I just want to go and get it done. And other people are more conversational in nature, and they process things differently. So what I do is I want to book a time, and I'm going to do this in that first coaching session, or I might sell this as the first thing that we do. So you might sell this full profit assessment breakthrough 40 for $2,000, or some coaches have, they want to sell it for as much as $10,000 to find those breakthroughs. But you put your own price on that, and then you find the breakthroughs, you deliver that as a report, and then you go into the coaching session. Other coaches might do it as part of their first coaching session or their first coaching month, where they walk through each of these areas. But it's going to take you at least, I'd say, 5 hours to go through this as a minimum, to go through this entire assessment with a client. Other coaches will say, hey, let's work on one area per month, and it might be market dominating positions. They go in, they find the breakthroughs there, and then they walk through all the steps to help them implement. I don't think that's the best way to do it, because what you want to have happen is you want to go through each of these areas in an initial assessment, and from there you figure out what your priorities are, and then you go into implement each area. But you can't possibly know what the priorities are until you've done the entire assessment. So you're like a doctor doing a very complete diagnosis on a business. And imagine just asking questions in 3 or 4 areas and leaving out something like alliances and joint ventures or reactivating former customers. and you realize that 9 months down the road, you finally get to reactivate, and this should have been something you've done in the first month because it might be the easiest way to grow the business. And you don't know that until you've gone through the assessment. So I would find a way to do this assessment in half a day. You book half a day at least with a client. You do the full assessment. Maybe you're charging for that couple grand, maybe you're not. But that's probably the most responsible way to figure out your best path forward. Carl, your thoughts?
Yeah, the good news is you're not going to, you're only going to need to go through 3 or 4 and you're already going to find it. But yeah, so the general premise is, and once again, you'll get your own style, and we encourage you to use your own style. But you're trying to close them. You use Profit Jumpstart to find 100 grand and get a bit of a sense as to how you're going to go about helping these folks. And very importantly, prior to starting that, I said it earlier, but I want to make sure everybody hears it again, so important that I ask you this question. So what are the 3 biggest challenges / obstacles you currently face? And then you zip it, do not say a word, and listen to everything they say for the next 1 to 3 minutes after that question. Make, either penciled, proper notes, or most definitely mental notes, because that's the way you're ultimately going to sell them. But anyway, so you go through the Profit Jumpstart, you get a sense as where they're at and where you're going to go, and then you go into Breakthrough 40 once they're paying you, and this is where you build, this is where you really lift up the rocks to be able to find the revenue generating opportunities. So that's kind of the difference between the two and how it's positioned. Like the way you started it was that, do I go through the 40 over the course of 12 months? Like we don't see it used in that manner. I'm no doubt you could, but it's more of a sit down 4-hour session where you really go through, dig deep, and then, that roadmap is the way that you move forward. Does that help you, Jane?
Yeah, that clarifies it a lot. I like that. Because originally when I heard about, and I hadn't got to see everything yet, your software keeps improving. When I heard about the Breakthrough 40, I'm thinking, oh my, just doing a few of them was going to take quite a while, but 40 of them?
Yeah, and if you went through all 40, you could be there for 2 days. If you get you get a chatty Kathy, you could, you gotta keep her moving and get through. But anyways, the magic, Jane, there's no rocket science here. Okay, what do they need? They need an upsell. They don't have it. They need a downsell. They don't have it. They need a cross sell. Do you want fries with that? They don't have it. They need a proper upfront offer, right? There's some 101s here that, this is a very impressive way of going through everything, but do feel comfortable that there's no rocket science. These are if you look at McDonald's and their business model, they're so ridiculously successful because they do things like, do you want fries with that? Do you want me to supersize that? Do you want an apple pie with that? Right? Like they're consistent and, over a long period of time with good training, development, they've managed to do what they've done, but there's no rocket science there at all. Right?
Yeah.
So my way of just making you feel comfortable, Jane, there's a lot here, and I get that, but at no time have we gone into rocket science. We always stay in everything here, everything Pat's got here, everything to the left, all 40 areas are it's fundamentals of growing a business. It's not, do you know anybody who would also like some business coaching? Ask for referrals. If you don't ask for them, you don't get them. If every client you have sends you 2 referrals, you triple your business instantly. Like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
Right? No need for advertising. Anyway, so just want to bring it back to the fundamentals. Don't get intimidated by anything because it's the basics here.
It is very impressive for sure.
Beautiful. Okay, high five. Great questions. Appreciate your input. We got to, Ross has got a question. I think we're going to be able to answer this one quick. Ross, you're self-muted there, buddy. If you want to open your, you are.
Hey, Carl.
Ross.
Pat, how you doing?
Good.
Nothing.
Man.
I've been sending out the email with the business broker video, and I've been getting a lot of responses. And I have 4 calls set up, and I know I was speaking to Alan this morning, calling me a business rehab expert now. So I just want to get your takeaway that take a business broker straight to the PAS and show them just a quick, short version, and then potentially the deep dive of what can happen once he sells it to a new customer, and potentially offering maybe a $5,000 grant where I come in and give him another short version and then trying to get him as a client. What's your thought process on that?
Yeah, okay, well, as far as presentation, to get his initially, like you've just sent out an email, I would do exactly what I did earlier when I did it with Juan, right? I did that overview. That's pretty much exactly what I would say. And then I would set up a follow-up call from that. Depending upon how that call goes, and again, this is you kind of using your spidey senses, would dictate whether I'd move them into doing the 100 grand in 45 minutes with that individual, or moving them into, let me show you a little bit more comprehensively what I've got here, and then let's form a joint venture relationship where you introduce me to your clients and I pay you handsomely to do so.
Gotcha.
So, spidey senses, and if you have 4 calls, 2 might go in one direction and 2 the other.
Sure.
This is where you gotta pay attention to what they're saying, and maybe they want to, if they want to grow their business, then we know which direction we go.
Sure. Okay, great. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah, the great thing
Pat,
about
I'd imagine you'd agree with that, or what do you think?
Yeah, great thing about business brokers, they have 2 types of clients. One is that they're going to take on as a client and they're going to help them sell their business. And the other are the majority of people they reject as a client. And either of those groups you can help. So if they're going to take them on as a client, the smartest thing for that business owner to do is to ramp up their sales as quick as they can so they can sell their business for more. They're just trying to get out the door. But there's a lot of things you can help them do to optimize their sales or optimize their profits. The other group are those probably 90% of businesses that aren't ready for sale. And if you can form a deal or come in as a partner of that business broker, and the business broker will say to those people, like, actually, Mr. Jones, you don't qualify at this point. You're not ready for sale, but I've got my partner here who will help you get ready for sale. It usually takes 3 years or 2 years, whatever it's going to take in your case. But here's the benefit of doing it. And they talk about how you're going to help them optimize their business and get all the processes and policies going and increase their profits, and the end result of that is you're going to be able to sell your business for probably 4 times as much as you're thinking of selling it for right now. So you've got those 2 different areas with business brokers. They're ideal joint venture partners to have, but there's so many people that you can actually work with. So if you can get that business broker completely on your side and activated into that process working with you, and you can show that business broker how he's going to benefit from working with you immediately and in the long term, show them the benefits, how much money they're going to make from each deal that they bring, et cetera, very high probability you can sign them up.
Great.
Totally.
Thanks.
Cool.
Thanks for the
Awesome.
info.
Hey, Ross, good stuff, man. Great questions. Going to put you back on mute. Last one here. We got Veronica. FYI, Pat, I'm going to have to skedaddle here, so you might have to continue. But here, Veronica, very quickly, I want to answer this. Veronica, you there? You're self-muted, Veronica. You got to unmute yourself.
Oh, hi. Good afternoon.
Hey. Yes, look at that Jamaican accent. Keep talking, Veronica. That sounds so cool.
Okay, thanks. My question was, if I have prospects, like you have a lot of redundancy around and people are losing their job and they want to start a business, but most of them, they're not business savvy, but they still want to start a business because they have skills that they could use, like in consultancy and such. How would this software help them as startups? They don't have revenue at the moment. They might have a capital that they want to use to start out.
So it's a home run. Let me just put it that way. Going to people and helping them start businesses. I mean, that's the franchising world. That's kind of where I come from. One thing you'll see with franchises, like cleaning businesses, painting businesses, fast food restaurants, these are the types of businesses that franchise. So make sure that If you're going to help somebody get started in business, encourage them to start with something very simple. They can move into something a little more complicated, but you help them get started. Like what most of them will do is they'll go sign up with an MLM and then have a bad experience and think that entrepreneurship's not for them. Well, the reason that MLM, there's a bunch of different reasons, but for the most part, you're effectively their salespeople and you're making 10%, you know, throw this sort of stuff. Your margins are ridiculously low. One of them, like the magic of being a consultant as an example, is that we have like 70, 75% margins. There's not many industries in the world where it's like that, right? Like if you decide to be an online business and you're going to sell on Amazon, if you sell a toaster, again, let's say it's $100, you buy it for 80, you're making 20, you're making 20%, but we're making 75% as consultants. So that's the magic of it. But helping people get started in business is something you should absolutely be helping folks do, and so should everybody else listening. But the software, the way that you grow a business, you're looking at it on the left-hand side of Pat's screen. This is the way you do it. So you're going to start a company, they need an upsell, they need a downsell, they need a cross-sell, they need a proper upfront offer. And if left to their own devices, they won't do it. So that's where you could help them. And of course they don't. So what I would do is I would go, let's pretend that your revenues were $100,000.
Okay.
Do that. And then, you know, the margins are going to be 60 and 20, 60 gross, 20 net. That's probably where you're going to end up, by the way. So let's do that and go. And they're going to go, okay. And you say, boom, here you go. So that's the way I'd handle it.
Okay. Okay. All
like
right.
that? Make sense? Any further question to that?
Sometimes they're not clear. You help them to find clarity, maybe at the beginning, what they want to do, because they might have some skills. Like, example, I have a potential customer. She's a lecturer at the university, but she's frustrated with her job. So she wants to do something in her field, but she's not clear on what she wants to do. So with that, I think a coaching session on clarity would be ideal. I don't know, what's your take on that?
Okay, so the answer is the obvious one, and that she's going to need to get a little clearer. I mean, you can direct her with the kind of business she could start. I'll just tell you this. Here's a tattoo for your forearm. Repeat business equals profit. Okay? Because if we leave her to her own devices, she'll decide to go into real estate. And then she'll have a horrific experience. And the reason people have a horrific experience in games like real estate is that there's no repeat sales. Like, people don't buy a house repeatedly. They do it maybe once every 5 years. So you constantly have to find a new business. Whereas, you know, like my neighbor, 27-year-old with a $350,000 Lamborghini, the guy's got a cleaning business, right? Well, think of the nature of cleaning, which is very non-sexy, non-delusional, unlike real estate. But that's a great business, because how often is your house, your office, whatever else getting dirty? And the answer is, as long as you're there, there's a need for a cleaner. So repeat business equals profit. If you ever heard a webinar I've ever done or training, like, do you want to sell dogs or do you want to sell dog food? Well, I'd give you the dog for free to sell you the dog food. Do you want to sell coffee machines or do you want to sell coffee? I'd give you the coffee machine for free to sell you the coffee. Do you want to build swimming pools or do you want to do back end? I had a flagship client back in the day. They built $50,000 swimming pools. And I basically just said, do you sell the chlorine? Do you open and close the pool? Do you service the pool? And it's no, not interested. And I showed them that a business selling chemicals like chlorine could be built up and sold for $1 to $10 million one day. A business building swimming pools for 50 grand a pop is probably a business where you just turn off the phone and it's over when you're done. Because again, people aren't building multiple pools, clearly, right? So it's constant. It's like selling purebred dogs. You're just not going to have repeat business.
Okay.
You follow?
Yes, definitely.
Yep.
Thank
So
you.
repeat. So anyway, so you're what are they going to pay you? You're going to guide them on the kind of business that they should be starting.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Does that help?
Yes.
Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, good.
Carl,
put you back on mute.
what'd you say this morning? Teach a man to fish and?
And you can sell him fishing gear. I did. That's it.
That's right.
Well done, Pat. I love it, man. That's it, dude. I love that one, actually.
Paying attention.
That's it, man. It's so true, right? Like, it's like, that's part of the magic, man. Anyways, okay, look, guys, I don't think we have any more questions, and I need to skedaddle. So unless
Let me just say, yeah, if anyone's got a question, if you got a question we didn't get to today, our time's up, but you can email pas@noresults-nofee.com, and it'll come into me, and I'll get to it before the end of the day if it comes in, or first thing in the morning. So pas@noresults-nofee.com, and that's it.
Awesome. Pat, thanks so much, man. You're a legend. For everybody that asked the questions, thank you so much. Much appreciated. And we'll be chatting to you guys. When are we doing this? Next Thursday. All right?
Thursday, 3 p.m. All right. See you guys.
Thanks, folks.